Hi guys, welcome to this week's video. If you're new here, my name is Shay and we are currently in my library. If you followed any of the previous videos, you know that this library has become my pet project at the moment. So I thought I would take you guys along with me as I do a refresh in here. What I want to do today is completely redo the shelves. So I have said multiple times that I wanted to keep my read books on one side separate to my TBR, which is the to be read, which is basically all of my books nearly. So now I've completely changed my mind. My actual overall vision for this library is to have like little alphabet blocks and have all the A authors together and then all the B's, all the C's, etc., but designated with a particular letter of that alphabet. But in order to do that and keep my read books and non-read books separate, it would take years of me reading through these books to fill out the shelves enough to be able to do that. And I'm being really impatient. I don't want to do that. I want to do it now. So what I'm going to do is mix up all my read and unread books and then still keep myself a little TBR shelf or two, depending on how many books I separate from most. And that TBR shelf will be made up of books that are series that aren't interconnected standalone. So anything that continues on in a story that I only have like the first of, or maybe I don't have the first book yet and I've only got the second, but anything where the story is a continuation on and it's not yet a complete set, or it's basically a new release, so the rest of the series hasn't been written yet, those I'm going to keep separate on the TBR or to be read shelves, and then everything else that's like a standalone or an interconnected standalone or something that I haven't got a continuing series of that's not a complete series, I'm just going to incorporate in with everything else. So hopefully that makes sense. If not, as we do it, it should make more sense. You'll be able to see what I'm talking about. But before we do the shelf reorganization, I did start filming a video that's sort of like a refresh or revamp of this space. And it was meant to be just a small video of me doing bits and pieces of projects in this room to sort of get it up to where we are today. So I just figured, because there's no massive before and afters, because this room is being done piece by piece, I would just sort of mix those two videos together. So I'm going to take you back in time to when I started this, or what I thought would be this original video. And then there's also a little book haul, and then I've got another little book haul for you guys incorporated into that. And then we'll sort of leave off in the present. So let me take you back to previous Shay. This is the current state of my library, and I'll do a pan over, but I have some books I have bought today that I want to add in, and I want to do a little bit to sort of make this room a little bit more cozy and to just sort of isolate the room from the rest of the house a little bit. So I'm going to flip you around and show you what I mean and show you what it looks like. It is really dark outside, even though it's not even that late. So I'm sorry if the lighting isn't the best in this video, but I've got to work with what I've got to work with. I only have today to do this, so let's jump right in. So this is the current state of my library. So I have a little rocking chair here. This blanket is a weighted blanket, so it's not the warmest. So I did buy a replacement blanket so I can just use this on maybe my bed or something. I've had this, it's a bedside table from Kmart for a while, and then this is the books that I have yet to read. So I want to swap out this lamp. You might not be able to see it properly, but this lamp here I grabbed from another part of the house. I'm going to just swap it with a different one, just because the height, it's too low for that sort of seating area. I did spend time like putting all the cords, like cord management in there, but I think the one I want to swap it with is a similar length cord, I hope. So we're going to have a look at that and see. And then I've been buying supplies. The house is a mess, but I'm going to put, because when you look in this way, and just ignore the mess in the background, please. There is no door in here and it's just sort of like an open arch. So I like the view looking in where you can see all the books, but when I'm in here, I want to be able to close this up a little bit. So I've got a curtain rod with just some tulle type material to sort of close it in when I'm in here reading. And then I've got like some hooks that I could use as like tie backs if I need. That's a TBD on those. And then I also have some film for the window because hopefully you can't hear them, but my neighbour's dogs are going nuts next door. But I have the blind halfway down to sit at the fence level of the property next door, just because I can look into their backyard from here and I don't really want to do that. So I got some of the contact paper here that we're going to put in at least the top parts of the window, so I can have the blind all the way up and let in as much light as possible. So that is the plan. And then I did buy also here, it's really dark, I'm sorry, and this is upside down, but an ottoman that is also storage from Kmart, and then a little throw blanket as well. But let's check out the lamp situation first. All right, so you can't really tell, but this is a lamp I'm thinking of swapping. So this is just my spare room. So there's not much in here, just a bed basically. But I think this should have a long enough cord to sort of do the same job. Maybe, hopefully. Oof, actually it might not, but we shall see. And then if it doesn't, well, we can just swap it and see if I can find something else at a later date. So let's try that first. I got ways, I got lights, but I ain't trying to use them just to get where you go. Ooh, baby, more than a night, it could be amazing. All right, so the cable situation is not the best, but it's okay for now. And then I can always just get a little extension cord for later. But I think it's going to sit better than the one I had. All right, so while I've got the chair out of the way, I'm going to do the film on the window. So it's just, I've just got a spray bottle of water, and I couldn't find my razor. So I've just got some sharp scissors, and hopefully that's enough that I can get a clean cut on the film on the window. Lighting's probably going to be terrible, but I've got this, it's a clear film, but it's got little flower patterns on it. If I can't show it to you on the window, because if it doesn't come up, I might take a photo of it with my phone so you can sort of see what it looks like. But I'm going to put this up and then we'll try and get the film on at least like where it sits to here. Like I'm not too worried about the bottom. And then depending, I should have enough for the entire window, but in case I don't, even if I just go halfway down the windows, that's fine. Mostly just so I'm not seeing my neighbors and they're not seeing me, especially during the day. Like the curtain actually blocks the view from them looking in, but I also just don't want to see them if I'm looking out. Loving in a way that's better than okay. Yeah, just wait. You say each season bringing another reason we ain't not even just you and me. If you stay, darling, oh darling, stay a while and figure me out. I promise you won't regret it. No, you won't regret. So it is done. It is not the best execution, that's for sure. I definitely feel like I didn't get as much as I thought I would. Have like a tiny little piece left, which we shall put aside because who knows. I just cut them into 4 little panels. I did expect it to at least cover as much as it has, so that's good. And it is, because it's been so tightly wound, a little bit's coming up at the edges, but I didn't go like right to the edge of the window. but it was mostly to sort of block a little bit out from the neighbours. I thought this would be cute. I like the look of it. I don't know if you can see the pattern, but I'll do a close-up, but you still can see quite a lot through it. It's not as opaque as I thought, because I have some in the bathroom that is completely opaque, which is obviously by design. I did still want to let a lot of light in, so I think it's okay for what I need. Can everyone sort of still see in? Probably. I might check it later from the outside with the lights on to see what you can see in. Not that it matters because they're looking into the kitchen, but I feel like it's their living room that's right there. But yeah, it's fine for the purpose of what I need. It does block a little bit of the view out that way. So that's, yeah, better than nothing. And because you just apply it with water, if it starts peeling up because it wasn't flattened first, I'll just keep sort of fixing it until it flattens itself out. And then if it doesn't work out with the view through this one, I might look at getting one that's fully opaque. But for now, I think that's fine because it really is only going to make a difference for me. They still can't see in except for like now because it's getting dark and the lights are on. They won't be able to see in anyway because of these sheer curtains. I've checked that. So yeah, it's mostly to block my view of them. But let's move on to the next project. I don't think you can see much out there because of the lighting, but essentially you're looking onto my kitchen, which needs a clean. But I want to put some curtain rods up here just so that when I'm in here looking out, I can close the curtains. And I just got some cheap sort of like sheer gauzy tulle type material. So this is going to be in desperate need of a steam, but I don't know if I can be bothered doing that tonight. So it's not going to block a whole lot realistically. It's just sort of for looks, but I thought it might be nice to sort of have something that would mimic the curtains on the other side and then also just provide a little bit of distance between this room and that room, but without having to block any of this when looking in. So I can just pull the curtains to the side. It'll take up some of this white space because I was going to put some frames there, but we'll see how this all looks up. I've got 4 panels. And then I also got, I'm just throwing everything away. I grabbed some mini hooks. I don't know if you'll be able to see. I don't know if it's going to focus, if that's blurry, but some mini hooks that I could stick here if I needed to wrap it around so it sort of like keeps them behind there, but I have a feeling it should sit there fine. And then I also have these clasps, which, let me open them up, which stick on, and essentially it just puts it's like a clip, sticks onto the wall, and you put your curtain rod in. These ones do come with mounting brackets, but I don't know if I can fit the rod in here, which is kind of small now that I'm looking at it. I don't know if it'll fit, but I didn't want to put holes in the walls if I could avoid it. This probably would rip the paint off anyway if I were to rip it off, but we'll see. I'll have to see if I can fit it in, otherwise we're mounting it. So I do have drywall anchors or little screws to anchor things into the drywall. So if I need to, it's fine, I will. But yeah, I bought these in the hopes that I didn't have to. And then I just got this from Kmart. I think it was like $22. It's one of those expandable ones that goes up to, I think, 3 meters, because the room itself, I think, is about 2.4 meters wide. I just don't know how to, does it just rip open? This video is just going to be 10 minutes of me trying to open all these products. Okay, it is hooked into the plastic. Wow. Ow. Hold on. I had to move down to the floor. Don't know. Put that in there. I don't know if that is even apart. Did it twist or what? I don't know. Instructions suck. If you say so. Where do you go? Let's see. You have no purpose, just exist. Oh, my clip's gonna be big enough. Hell to the no. Alright, we're mounting these babies to the wall. Okay guys, so as you can see, I put the curtains up. They look okay. They're a little bit short, so they're about this much too short, but considering I didn't bother to measure, I think it's okay. I just wanted to make sure that the curtain rod was up as high as the one across from it, or as close to as I could, but it looks pretty good. I will probably get thicker curtains. I just went some really cheap ones just to see if I'd like it, because I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, which is why I didn't want to also have to put the drywall anchors into the wall, because I mean I can easily patch up the wall, but I just didn't want to have to if I didn't like it. But I do like it. I think it's going to be good. I just need to get different curtain panels, or just some thicker material, or even just more material to lay over the top, because it is just that little bit too sheer. But it was really cheap, so it does have the look that I want to go for, just not quite with this material. So that's something that I will have to update in the future. And I mean, these really need like a steam or something, but that's okay for now. But I like how it sits, and it covers in that little bit of the wall. So I just want to bring in now the ottoman and the new blanket that I got. I'm going to take out my weighted blanket just because it's not really of any use to me in here. It's probably going to be better used in like my bedroom or something. So I'll move that, and yeah, we're going to do a quick vacuum in here as well, which I'll just do off camera, and style it up, and we should be done. Let's jump straight into the portion of the whole portion of the video, and then I'll show you the overview of what the room looks like. So the first book, I've got all of these books for $1. The first book that I got is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, or Rothfuss. This one I have been seeing doing the rounds on YouTube at the moment. I know it's been out for a while, and I think there might be others in this series, I'm not sure. But it is basically I think high fantasy, where this guy is retelling his life story. So I have been wanting to pick this one up, but it is quite a chunky book. So when I saw it for $1, which is like the theme of every book haul that I have, I was like, oh, try it, it's only $1. But anyway, that is basically the basis of these hauls, trying to fill up my shelves. So yeah, so I grabbed this one, and yeah, I'm excited to get into this one. It has really small writing, so even though it's quite a thick book, yeah, it's got quite a lot of pages in it, and literally up to the last page is like the epilogue. So yeah, about 660 pages, but with teeny tiny writing. But yeah, so excited for this one. The next one I got, I'd never heard of. It's The Path of Thorns by A.G. Slatter. So this one is sort of, sounds like it's a kind of more gothic, it could be a thriller. It doesn't really say, but essentially the main character, she goes to be a governess at this house, and there's something to do with this house and secrets and things like that. So it sounded really interesting, and it's quite a short book, so I thought it would be quite an easy read. And this one has normal size writing, which is good. So I've grabbed this one. The next one I got was Sarah Adams' Practice Makes Perfect. So this one, I've got the cheat sheet by Sarah Adams. I haven't read anything from her before, but I thought this one just looked like a cute little romance. I don't know if this is in like a series or if you have to read anything in a particular order. This one is a little bit damaged, but only on like 2 pages where I think they've spilt glue or something because it's all kind of stuck together, but it's mostly still readable. Anyway, if I really like this book, I can always try and find a proper non-damaged copy, but like I keep saying, for $1, it's not too bad. So yeah, I'm excited to get into this one when I can. I also have been collecting Charlene Harris books, so I found Dead as a Doornail. So now I only have 2 books left in this series to collect, but this one was very, I don't know if you can tell, but very sun damaged. So I'm glad I only paid $1 for this one. And then hopefully, if I enjoy the series, but if I don't love the series, I haven't paid more than I think $2 for the books in this series. So it'll be no problem for me redonating or putting in a little free library. And then the last book is probably the one I'm most excited about. It's called Magic Lessons by Alice Hoffman. I think this is the sequel to Practical Magic, which I haven't read the book, but I have seen the movie, and I know they're doing a second movie. So before that comes out, I really, really want to read both the books. So yeah, I was really happy to find this one. I got ways, I got lies, but I ain't trying to use them just to get where you're going. Ooh, baby, more than a night. It could be amazing if on a daily basis we had a loving in a way that's better than okay. Yeah, just wait. All right, so as you saw, I did do some of the curtain panels, which I already have here. What I have done in the meantime is buy extra panels because it was quite wispy and quite thin. And I will do an overview at the end for you guys as well, both at night and in whatever crappy daylight we have today. It is very, very wet and rainy and cold outside. So if you can also hear my heater going, I'm sorry. I'm trying to do it in between wash cycles and the heater's going. So there might be a lot of background noise, but hopefully it's not picking up too much of that. But I did add in extra panels on each side, and I'll show you that at the end as well, just to sort of thicken it out a bit. And they are a little bit short, so they're about this far off the ground, which I don't mind too much. But I did have clips that, like the rings with the clips for the curtains to hang on. But what I didn't realize is it's just the clips, it's not the actual rings. So I will potentially in future purchase those because it will drop the curtains down a little bit lower, but it's not a priority right now. And mostly this curtain is just for when I'm in here reading and I want to block out the outside world. It's not to actually block the view of the books from the inside. So let me really quickly just go through the books that I've got in the meantime that we'll be incorporating in with the rest. And then we'll get on to the main point of today and redo all these shelves. So the first book that I got, and these again are all secondhand. Yes, they're all secondhand. So I found Ride With Me for $2. I found the first book at the same op shop for $2 as well, but on different days. So that was a lucky find. So hopefully I like this series. Yeah, so $2 for that one. It is Ride With Me by Simone Soltani. And then I found, this one's a bit damaged and also probably needs a wipe down, is The Things We Leave Unfinished by Rebecca Yarros for $2. So it's got a tear here and some stuff I'm going to try and wipe off. But $2 for this book. I've heard a lot of good things about this one. So it's a pretty sad book, I think. So I'm excited to get emotional with that one. I found Daydream by Hannah Grace for $3. I have Icebreaker, but I don't have, I think the second one is Wildfire. But yeah, I was pretty happy to find this one for secondhand for $3. I've then, sorry, that's my washing machine in the background. It's so loud. Okay, I think the washing machine's quieted down a little bit. The next one I found for $4 was Mikayla Bridges of Flame and Fury. I think this one's relatively new. It's got the QBD book sticker. It was originally $27 down to $20, and I found it secondhand for $4. So this is a YA fantasy, I believe. So I am looking forward to seeing what this one is about. Then I found, I'd never heard of this one before. It's called Thoroughly Disenchanted by Alexandra Armand. I got this one for $3. This one is, I think a couple have a perfect date and they make a wish that it could last forever, and then it does. And I think it explores what happens when you're stuck in a house with someone that you are hopefully in love with forever, but you know, when you're stuck. So this one sounded interesting, so I got that one for $3. And then I also found The Courting of Bristol Keats by Mary E. Pearson. So this one was also $3 I found. And this one just says at the top, never make a deal with the Fae. I think this one is also one that continues on. It's not a standalone. So there's that one. And then the very last book I found this one for $5. It was originally $35 down to $15. Is Cassandra Clare's Swordcatcher. So I have a interesting relationship with Cassandra Clare. I know everyone is a huge fan of her Shadowhunter series, but if you've read it, you know that there's a certain story plotline that comes in quite early between two of the main characters that kind of went a little bit gross for me, and then I stopped reading that book because of that storyline, and then never went back and never read anything from her again. So this one I think is an adult fantasy, so we'll see if I like it, or we'll see if Cassandra Clare is just not an author that I ever want to read from again. But yeah, those are the books that I got. What I might do actually is just put them in the shelves with the right author order, and then we'll start on this side, which is my previously going to be read side, and start up the top over there. So let's do that first. What I've gone and done is bought little alphabet letters, obviously one for every letter of the alphabet, which I don't think I'm going to need quite yet, or maybe not at all, but I just wanted to make sure they were all exactly the same, so I just bought everything all in one go. And then I also bought extra of the T, the B and the R to create TBR for to be read. So open, this is what they all sort of come looking like. And then open, it's just a wood block with a wood black letter, which you sort of can't see, and then it just slots in, and that's what it looks like. Even though they come exactly as advertised, I thought they were going to be a little bit bigger, because if I pull out a book, I thought it would be the size of the book. So I thought it would sit up at the top of the book, but they're quite small. But that was me, because I can't apparently read properly, despite the fact that reading is my biggest hobby. Yeah, so they are smaller than I was expecting, but they're still quite cute, and I think they should be hopefully visible enough for what I want to do. And then if not, I can either paint them, or maybe, you know, down the track, if I do enjoy how it looks, because also that's something, just change it up or put something in a bit bigger, because I was looking at 20 centimeter letters, but they were just the letters. They didn't have like the block on the bottom, which is still an option, because I know the Spotlight here has like the paper mache cardboard ones, which I can just paint to black, or maybe the white would even stand out better. But yeah, that is just an option in case these don't work out. And then if these don't work out, well, that's just too bad for me, because I should read properly, which I thought I did, and I thought I measured, but obviously I was delusional. So yeah, this is what they all look like, and they just sort of slot in. Maybe I will secure it at some point, but I don't think I'll need to. It's pretty much just going to sit on the shelves and not be touched. So yeah, let's get to the fun part and start rearranging these shelves. Alright guys, so as you can probably see by the background, I have not actually changed the shelves yet. I'm just jumping in to do an outro while my laundry is going because it's just incredibly loud. So thank you so much if you watched to the end of this video. Hopefully you like the shelves, hopefully I like the shelves, and I will see you guys in the next video.